And remember, it's new minus old. You got to do that first, hit enter, or put it in the fraction button, and divide by the old. Anybody other than Josh? Anybody want to agree with him, disagree with him? Thank you, Josh. April says she's getting about the same thing. Remember, the old is now 48, the new is now 21. So 21,000 minus 48. And remember, you're always dividing by the old. These two always have to be the same in relative change. So the numerators are going to be opposites, 27,000, negative 27,000. But what happens with relative change, the denominators are different, right? So you're not going to get the same percents that are opposites or the opposite percents. You're going to get different values unless they're 50%. So Josh was, I believe, absolutely correct there. And so was Kim. You can see it changes as a decimal, 0.5625 as a percent, about 56.3%. So your sentence would change very much. It would not use this number, this percent. You would be saying, as a high school graduate, the high school graduate would make about, except these should all be negatives, 56.3 or 57% less. Yes, Kim, it was negative. I just caught that. 56% less than the professional dog behavior specialist. Okay? Because I see a lot of people that try to use this, whatever they get, both directions. You cannot do that because look what happens right here. You have opposite numerators, the same value, but one's positive and one's negative, but your denominators are different. Okay? So be careful of that. It is a pretty basic formula, but it is not on your formula sheet. Okay? So you're going to have to know it. Absolute change is just new minus old. It's just the difference in an order. And then relative change is just the absolute change, new minus old over the old. Remember, no n minus o over o. And do this in the calc. You can't just go value minus a value divided by a value in a calculator. It would be wrong. 3, Maya, I've had 2 people send it in, and every one of them on the relative change divided by the new value. I would bet that is the same thing that you did there, and absolutely we will look at that. Okay, so first let's just practice one, not on the homework, and then we'll make sure we do that one. But I bet maybe if you do it now, you will see what you did. I bet you divided by the new value. Okay. Look at my practice ones here. Number 2. Let's see if you can do the relative change now. New minus old divided by old. And it pays to mark new and old. Remember, from is your old, to is your new. Go and label which is new and old, and then fill it in. And let's hear from everybody. Put your setup and tell me what you get. Okay, so our old is 854, our new is 780. And we divide by the old. These two have to be the same. That's the biggest error. Okay. And remember, you can't put it straight in your calculator unless you use the fraction key. You've got to do the numerator first. Hit enter. And then do your division. So we get negative 0.08665. Didn't say word around. Pay attention to that in the homework. It didn't say as a decimal or percent. So this would be as a decimal. As a percent, saw somebody put 9%. That would be fine. It didn't say word around. 8.7%. Okay. Most of the ones I'm seeing up there, I think that's a 0.08. My eyes are too bad. I can't see, but it looks like almost all of those are correct forms that I see up there because it didn't say what form. But remember, on the homework and on the test, it is saying what form. Because I saw somebody that said, why am I getting them wrong? Sending them in, and it was saying put as a decimal, and they were putting percents. So you got to watch that as well. Okay, good job on that one. I think there's one more on here from this section. These are similar to your quiz questions, the actual quiz, not the homework ones. Okay. So try number 5, and then we'll take a look at the homework, and I bet you'll get them right now, Maya. You got to take the time to mark them. And you need to practice writing sentences because you will have to write them in your paper and on your test. Even on the quiz this week, you have to type your own sentences. So practice your sentences. It's not like you're going to be able to do it on a test if you've never done it before, like it's just going to come to you. You need to practice it. So remember, your from is your old, to is your new. And remember, no. And these are the same. Kim's got everybody started. Now we just need some sentences. These have to line up. That is a perfect sentence. There would be no problem getting all your points for that. And that would be a high point series of questions because you'd have this and then sentences always take high points. So do that on the test. Good job. Hopefully the rest of you had the same thing. If you can see what Kim wrote, I'll put it on here for the recording because I don't think those show in the recording. I'm not sure. The median income. She even put it proper and everything. I think I put I already put 2011 in there. Okay. Very good. And it could have been differently. You could have said it in Allen County, the median income is 17.6% less than in Boone in 2011. But remember, you can't reverse it. You can't say in Boone County is that much more. That's a false statement. That number does not interchange going backwards. It would be a different value going in the other direction. Okay. Questions? Let's go to Maya's problem. And now she'll be able to get it correct. Okay. Find the absolute and relative change between these two scores, the midterm and the final. Okay, hold on. We have a very important question that you must know the answer to. How do we know that Allen County is new and Boone County is old? Who can answer that? Because that's very important. You're answering yourself. Okay, in this case, it said from and to. Whenever it says from and to, from is your old and to is your new. So this one is very clear cut, from and to. Okay? So this one, the from is the old and the to is the new. Very clear cut on this one. Okay? Anytime it says from and to, from is your old, to is your new. So you got that part. Will it always say that? No. Here's an example where it does not say that. Okay? This case, we have to look at it. Midterm and final, which came first? The midterm came before the final. So we're looking at the improvement from the midterm to the final. So sometimes you have to look at it, what are we talking about? And we're talking about how did we improve from the midterm to the final, or how did our scores change? So this would be from this to this. So this becomes our old, and this is the new. So sometimes you have to look at the situation. And that is why on your project, you can do it either way. And I said you need to identify who is the old and who is the new and write the sentence accordingly. You could do it either way, but you have to identify it, do your calculations accordingly, and then write the sentence accordingly, because the sentence changes depending on who the reference value is. Okay? So we did it both ways here. So the first one here we made, on this first one I had the new being the dog behavioral specialist and the old being the high school. And then we wrote the sentence accordingly. As the new dog behavioral specialist, I have the potential to earn 125% more than the person with the high school diploma. Then we switched it and made the dog behavioral specialist the old, the high school the new. Now I would have to change my sentence and say, as the high school person with the high school diploma only, on average would make 56.3% less than, what's our reference value, the dog behavior specialist with a bachelor's degree. That's why you need to identify it in your calculations when you're picking which direction, because you can write it either way on here. Now, when they give you the to and from, you have to go in that direction. And on this way, there's a chronology. They're asking you, what was the change from the midterm to the final? They just don't have the words from and to, but that is what they're asking. Does that help you out there? Okay. So first thing to do is find the absolute change, which is new minus old. Then we need new minus old divided by old. And like I said, there's been 3 or 4 people send in about this question. Every one of them had the absolute change right. And they all made the same error on the next one. Okay, so 70 minus 62 is 8. Now we just did new minus old. That's what we got right here. So we have 8 over. Remember, we're always dividing by the old. These have to line up. So it's 8 divided by 62. 0.12903. A percent to the tenths, so times 100, would be 12.9%, only you don't type in the percent sign. Okay, Maya, you figuring it out there, what went wrong? Oh, you already typed in there, you figured it wrong out, didn't you? Okay. Anybody need to see any more of these? Okay. Moving on to the next section, which will likely give some of you more trouble because you will not listen to my advice. I'm old. I'm very old. I've done this for a long time. I need some of you to trust me. When you're doing percents, percent increase and decrease, and this usually affects the people that have very good math sense, because they will just want to reason it and won't want to write it down. They'll just start multiplying and dividing because They understand math. So this often affects the people that are stronger in math more than those that are weaker in math, because you won't take the time to set it up. And you'll find you're getting about half of them right. If you will do this my way, you'll find you get all of them right. It's going to take you a teeny bit longer on some of them, but you're going to get them all right. You need to use the proportion method. You'll get used to it, you'll get quick at it, and then you'll start discovering that you're going to get all of them right, or almost all of them right, instead of about half of them. Because what happens is, when you're looking for a percent of a number, you get them right. When you know the result and you're looking for the original number, you get them wrong if you don't do this. So if you recall, we were using proportion. We learned it before. Is over of equals percent over 100, I think in unit 1, which was also the same thing as the part you're considering over the whole you're comparing to equals percent over 100. Well, now we're just doing percent increase or decrease. So it's 100% of what we have, and then if they say there's an increase, it's 100 plus that number. If they say it's a decrease, it's 100 minus that number, instead of just the percent over 100. And a lot of times it's easy to find that part and the whole, we're looking at a new over an old value. Okay, also a sale price over an original price. Okay, because sale is part of an original price, the original came first. You take a percent of it to get the sale price. So the sale price is part of the whole, which was the original. A new price is part of the old, or a new something is part of the old amount. Okay, so these are some key terms that can help you in the word problems. It all goes back to recognizing the part and the whole, and when you translate it to blank is blank percent of something, then it can go right into here. And with practice and setting it up, they become very easy. But you just have to start doing them that way every time, and then you'll get them right. Okay? And I know you'll be thinking, it's just too easy to do it the other way. I just want to do 40% off, 0.4 times that, and subtract, because that's what you've always done. Okay? And I'll agree, when it's the original price, you have it, you'll get them right. But when you're missing the original price, you'll get them wrong. So doing this method, you will see you'll start to get them right every time. Okay? We have our free spot. That's what you should do first every time. Then you look for increase or decrease. 40% off, would that be an increase or a decrease? Somebody can speak. That's an easy question. I know people shop. 40% off. So is it 100 plus or 100 minus 40? It is a decrease. So it's decrease. 100 minus 40, which is going to give us, we are paying 60%. Okay? You're halfway there. Now it's just determining part and whole. Remember, we have new and old, sale and original. This is one of those. This is our original price. Okay, so that goes in the denominator. We're looking for the numerator. Okay, you should know how to do this like the back of your hand by now. Multiply, then divide. They're easy calculator problems. 15.64 times 60 divided by 100. Put it in all at once. 938, because we're rounding back to money, dollars and cents. And you've got it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go to 4 and then come back to 3. This is the one people miss that don't do this. But doing it this method, you'll get it right. You got your free spot. What is going above it? It's a sales tax of 7.4. So is that 100 plus 7.4 or 100 minus 7.4? Plus is correct. Remember, in this method, the decimal is moved for you. You don't have to worry about it. So this is 100 plus the 7.4. You're halfway there. Okay. You are charged this for a total meal. What was the menu price? So the menu price, did it come first? And then the total with tax came after that, right? So we're looking for the menu price. We don't know it. But 107% of that menu price is the new amount, the total bill, $15.64. And almost 100% of people that don't do this get that one wrong because you're missing the old amount and you have the new amount. Once you think about this and get used to doing this method, you'll get them right every time. Multiply and then divide. It's that easy. $14.56. Okay. The other type you have are when your data comes in percents. Now, this is saying the percent of working students increased 6%. This is your percent increase. So that's 100 plus 6 equals 106. What can get confusing on these is when your data is also in percentages. It's not increasing 42.5%. That's not an increase or decrease. This is your increase. This is your data. Okay? So what you do with, if your data is in a percentage, you just ignore the percents during your calculations and then you put it back on afterwards. Okay? So something increased from something 6% to this amount. Remember, 2 would be our new amount. What was the prior amount? Prior would be an old amount. So we don't know the old amount. We know what it increased to, which is a new amount. 90% are going to get that one wrong because you're looking for an old and you know the new. Multiply and then divide. Round to the nearest tenth. And now put your percent back on because your data is in percent. Make sense? The whole key is setting them up as proportions. You won't believe how much better you do, but I can't get the hard heads to do them that way. They just want to start plugging things in, multiplying and dividing, and they'll get about half of them right. They'll get any of them like this right. They'll get all like this wrong. Okay, so on 24, if you have any questions, I'll take them, but I would just like to have you practice setting them up. Okay. What would this proportion be? I'd hope you know how to cross multiply. Just what would this be as a proportion? We have our 100. A tax means an increase, so that's 100 plus 7. Okay. They're saying it sells for 5 and they're asking what's the total. So 5 is the original after tax is what they're looking for. That's going to be like that. Okay. So you guys try this one. I want to see the setup of the proportion, not the answer. We pay a tax, so it's 100 plus 7. This is the total. They want to know how much the menu became first. That is the original price. And this is after the tax. So this is the new, this is the old. We don't know the old, this is the new. Absolutely. Kim and Kristen, you both have it. Okay. Okay. 2 takes you kind of step by step. It just says, what percent of the original price do you pay? If it's marked down 20%, minus 20 is just 80. Okay, that's the way I always calculate sales prices. I don't find the percent off and then subtract it. I always do what am I going to pay. So if the original price is 55, how much will the sales price be? So this is original. This will be the new. Okay. Try to finish that one, part of that question. I wouldn't say whoops so quick, Josh. How'd you set it up? This is the sale price. What is the original? So we're looking for the old. This is the new. So you were absolutely correct. Multiply and divide. And the answer was 72. You were absolutely correct. These are the kind people get wrong, but setting it up, you'll get it Right. And you did get it right. Anybody have a question on that one? I can't tell you enough to set them up. Okay. Don't just multiply or divide. Okay. Try 3, one with large numbers. That throws people off sometimes. Was 6 million. So that's the old. What is it now would be the new. Increased. So that's a plus. So Kim has it set up perfectly. Okay. Some people have problems dealing with the large numbers. Multiply and then divide. Okay. Remember 6 million is 6 times 10 to the 6th. There are 6 and 6 zeros. Okay, then you'd be doing times 109.5 divided by 100. So you can put it into your calculator like that. I'd probably cancel those and then put it in that times that, but you don't have to. And there it is. Okay. A couple of them I want to get to with some language you might not be so familiar with. Let's do 6. One with percents. That just says of people that go out dancing once a month. Okay. What is the increase? It's not 78%. It's right here, right? So it's 100 plus 2, 102. At some time in 2010, this is the percentage. They want to know what is it now. So this would be older than right now. Okay. Multiply and then divide. And we're going to get, I don't know how they wanted that entered. It's probably on the back. 1/10 of a percent. 79.6. Okay. You have to be careful when your data is in percents. Okay. 7 is one I wanted to talk about the terminology. Your take-home pay is $1,500. You have 22% withheld. What is your gross pay? Okay. When they withhold taxes, you make less, right? They keep that. So that's a decrease. So that would be 78%. Of what? Your gross pay is your pay before any deductions are taken out. So this is your old amount. After deductions is what they call net pay or take-home pay. So this would be new. So 78% of the gross pay is $1,500. Okay? So we don't know the old, we know the new. So 78% of some unknown number is 1,500. So this is going to be more than 1,500. Okay? Multiply and then divide and you'll have your answer. But I wanted to go over the terminology there. Okay? Anybody want to see anything else? That was the ones I wanted to make sure I went over. 11 and 13. Yeah, you don't like these percent ones, do you? Oops. Back up. There was an 8. 8, 8, 8. Okay. You leave a tip. Okay. A tip you leave is going to increase, so that's 115%, right? This is your bill plus the 15 because it's tax included. Wait a minute, this isn't making any sense. Oh, tax, not tip. Okay. Shoo, tax, not tip included. How much total should you leave? Okay. So this is before the tip. I saw it and read tip, not tax. Okay. So this is the old or the original, and they want to know the new. Okay. Does that help you there, Lexi? You may have read it like I did at first. I was reading that it said tip. So 11. Okay. 20% ride the bus to work. That's data, not our increase or decrease. This is up 10%. There's our increase. What percent rode the bus to work last year? So this is this year, and it's up from last year. They want to know what is it last year. So this is the new, this is the old, okay? Because this says up from last year, so this is the newer one. They want to know the older one. 110% of last year's is now 20%. Multiply, then divide. Okay, got that one, Kim? See the chronological? 13. From previous data, we usually know that 80% of students get the same score from test 1 to 2. If 16 students got an A or B on test 1, how many would we expect to get an A or B on test 2? This one, I think they did the percent for us, right? We don't need to do the plus or minus. They gave us the 80. That may be what's throwing you off. Okay. 16 is the original amount. They want to know what's going to be the new amount, because test 1 would come first. Test 2 would be second. Okay. But 80 is not an increase or decrease. They've already done the subtraction for you. Okay. So on the rest of them have been worded like there is a 20% decrease. This one, you don't subtract. That's probably what threw you off. Multiply and then divide. Okay? All right. The main thing I can tell you to help you is to do it this way, the old, the new. Think about chronological, which came first, what are you taking a percent of, and if you start doing it this way, you'll find you'll start to get all of them right instead of, why am I only getting half of them right? You will start to see you can get all of them right. And that will make both of us happy. Okay, any questions? Right, have a great week.